Hi, I'm Colleen Sews and Chats. Welcome to the Holiday Hop 2022 with my friends Melissa at Practically Creative and Sylvia at you&meFPP. Let's get our fabrics and get going. I got this idea from Marie over at Marie's Scrappy Creations, and I'll drop a link in for y'all so you can go check her out. She made a box and I wanted one a different size with handles. This is what I came up with. The first piece I'm cutting is my muslin, which is the lining, at 19¼ inches by 20½ inches. And I've folded it in half, that way I'm just measuring to the 10¼ here. And I'm going to leave it folded in half, checking my sizes twice because, well, I cut wrong all the time. So I've got my 10¼ which gives me the 20½, and then I'm going to go in 4 inches down 3¾ inches on each of these corners. I'm just using a plain old pencil. I can see it, it's the lining, and I'm using the smallest scissors I could find to cut these corners because I'm lazy and I didn't want to go get my big ones. If y'all don't know that about me yet, you will. I should have got the big ones. It would have made it just a couple minutes faster. Nope. I'm going to hack and hack and hack until I get these little bitty corners cut out. There we go. And it's still folded in half. I'm actually just going to use that for the template for my next one. I folded that fabric over and I'm just going to cut it. I'm going to try to cut it to save from having to measure again. Why? I don't know. I genuinely do not know why I did it this way. My brain wanted to, and I said, hey, let's do what it wants to do instead of me. So, getting my outer fabric, and this is directional fabric. I should have done it in 2 pieces because it's directional, so everything goes the same way, but I wasn't worried about it. And I'm getting right sides together. Mainly because it was easier for me to see the marks I make on this when I do the 4 inches in, 3¾ down here, but also because it sets me up to get ready to sew, having the right sides together already. And my pencil didn't work so well, so I'm using a plain old pen. Pretty sure this is a gel pen. Getting all my corners marked, and again with the small scissors. Every time I sit down to do something, I forget something somewhere else. I decided I was going to use with what I had here. I almost used my rotary cutter, but I would have cut into my fabric that way and made gouges, and we don't want that. Or maybe you do. Hey, if you do, you do you. Now I've got my inner and my outer fabrics cut, and I didn't show me cutting this. I'm sorry. This is the lining. It's an inner facing that was for a mask, and what I'm doing here is I just, instead of quilting it down, I went from corner to corner, inner corner, and drew a line straight. And I'm sewing that just to sew this lining in real quick. Nothing terribly special about it. Since I did use what I had on hand, this was lining I got for masks, and I did not like how it worked. To me, it seemed like it was going to suffocate people. I know what you're thinking. Sometimes that's a good thing. No, it's not. Be nice. Oh my gosh, it's the holidays, people. And if you know me, you know I'm playing. Calm down. Okay. And this, let's see, I'm trying to remember the name of this. Pellon Featherweight Sew-In 20-inch wide interfacing. So had I not hacked in it to begin with, I could have just folded this over and cut it the same way as my other and had a continual piece. I wasn't even worried about getting that center piece down. With using a continual piece, you've got one less seam in the center bottom, which works for me, and you know I do what works for me. So I've got that inner facing sewed down. I've got my lining and my outer. Whoops, that was not a good picture. But now we're going to sew the sides of the lining together. Get ready to box those corners. I use clips to kind of keep it out of my way. I had a hard time lining this up because the inner facing was kind of getting in my way, but I lined my fabrics up and used that for my guide, not the inner facing edge. It's going to be in the seam allowance. I'm not worried about it. So I've got both sides almost. I back stitched as I put those sides in. And now the fun part, boxing the corners, which is simply tagging them at the corner opposite each other and pinning the bottom or clipping to that piece we sewed. Just pull the corners out like a smiley face kind of thing. I'm weird, I'm aware. And this lining was kind of fighting with me a little bit. But I didn't want to quilt something, and I didn't want to use any of my batting. And I really like the sturdiness of this. Without extra quilting, without extra bulk or anything. It's still pretty sturdy. So we've got those boxed, ready to sew. Now we're going to box these, get these set up ready to sew. I really wish I had a better way to explain these, but I don't. When you pull apart those corners like that, it lines it up in the center, so you don't have to worry about that so much. And I'm back stitching and getting my first edge sewn down. I'm using a 1/4 inch foot, which is kind of wonky when I do it, so you know, perfection is just not going to happen here. But it works, and I love the end result. So, you know, if you're not perfect, it's okay. And I'm telling you, the first box I did, that Marie did, oh my goodness, I made a mess of it. The directions were perfect. I was trying something different, and I should have just followed the directions. In fact, I have that filmed. I may put it up. It was just bad. But it still worked out in the end, which shocked me. Marie gave great directions. Had it not been for her, I would not have thought to do this. Still sewing those boxed edges. And it winds up that my final measurements is just about 1 inch shorter than what I wanted. So I could have made this just a little bit bigger and it worked. Okay, this is the handles. The extra fabric, I forgot to say, the extra fabric that I cut out, I used for the handles. Don't do that. Because this gave me a 2-inch wide, and what I needed was a 2 1/4 to get that to fold over properly and hide that handle. So I would cut a 2 1/4 inch by 10 inch strip, 2 of them, and I'm using heavy weight for the handle inside. I had some heavy weight Pillon 731 fabric stabilizer. It's adhesive on both sides, so I'm ironing it in to save. I don't know what this saves really, but that's what I had, so that's what I used. But if you cut these 2 1/4, that little piece that I folded over, because I'm going to hide that when I sew it, you could sew it down and then re-sew it, but just fold it over, get you a crease. This double-sided adhesive works really good to save from having to sew that in. And that's for that creases that I just made. Now these are just a little bit too small, so they're very fiddly getting that raw edge tucked under so I can do this next step. But I'm just wrapping them around. If you used batting, you just wrap it around your batting the same way. You just wouldn't have to iron it down. These are very straight. And the batting is 3 1/4. 3 1/4, that's not even a word, is it, people? Okay. 3/4 of an inch by 10 inches. And that gives me room to wrap the fabric around it. And sew it down. Now if you see the other side of this, you'll see where I was playing with my embroidery stitch and made a mess of it. So this side I'm doing a straight stitch, just like a top stitch. I want to be sure to catch that piece that I folded over so it doesn't come out on me. Back stitch at the beginning of the end just to make sure it's secured. Flip them around and do one on the other side just to make it look pretty and finished. Yeah, I haven't had coffee, so all this goofy is just on me. And then on the bottom, I'm binding the center where that seam is. I'm marking 3 inches from that seam on either side so I can put my handles on. And I'm lining my handles. I'm just eyeballing it. The line I drew, I'm putting in the center of my handle. And I'm clipping my handles so they are going inside of this. I still have it turned wrong side out. Getting my line, clipping that handle down. I'm lining the edges up straight. And now I'm going to tack these handles down real fast. As I was listening to my voiceover, I discovered that I said the handles are going on the bottom. The handles are not going on the bottom. We don't put handles on the bottom. I guess in theory you could and then wrap it all the way around, but we're not doing that. We're putting the handles on the side today. And measuring from that center seam on the side, 3 inches. Then tacking our handles down. I'm back stitching. Handles are kind of fiddly. I didn't get them lined up with the edge of the fabric just right in a couple cases, so it looks a little bit just barely off. So that's a keep in mind. Line the edge of the handle up with the edge of the fabric, get it straight. And then I put right sides together with the handles tucked in between the pretty sides of the 2 fabrics. And the box is coming together. Clip all the way around the edge, leaving an opening where we're gonna pull the insides out when we're done. Yeah, you think maybe I forgot to hit record on part of that. It's only happened twice That's got to be some kind of record for me. Okay, back to the sewing. I am backstitching a couple times, and I can tell you, I did not backstitch enough because I pulled stitches when I was turning it right side out. And why am I telling you this? Because it happens. I know I can't be the only one. This is my second time ever making a box, and the first one was a disaster, so I'm gonna take the win. And I'm going over these handle pieces a couple times. I nested my seams, so I turned my inner lining and my outer fabric, the seams opposite when I pinned them. Didn't give them any extra pressing or anything. Just lined them up with my fingers and clipped them. You'll notice that I use the words pinned and clipped interchangeably. That is not correct. But that's not likely to stop me. Okay, yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm using the 1/4 inch. I'm doing a 1/4 inch from the edge all the way around. Going over those handles a few times because I wanted to stay in. Getting that seam nested and continuing all the way around the bag, and I double clipped where I wanted to remember to back stitch well. And I leave a bigger hole because I don't like getting everything out of that tiny hole. And then you put your hand in between the lining and the outer fabric and pull everything out. And voila! Your handles are where they belong. And you just fiddle with these edges a little bit. Get them turned under where you left the opening at. And if you can leave a smaller opening, that's a smaller hole you have to fidget with, so good on you. And I'm just rolling it down because I don't really want the white to show over the Christmas fabrics. And you could iron it at this point to keep that crisp and down, but I'm not going to because for me that seems like a wasted step. Right there you can see that handle did not get sewn in as well as I should have or could have, but it's okay. I'm gonna hide it. That's right. It's not perfect and I'm gonna hide it. I don't know if there's bag police. There's no quilt police, so I'm gonna assume there's no bag police. Box, bag, I don't know. Okay, let's move on. There, that handle. Maybe the other handle was fine. Anyway. Oh, getting all of these pinned is a lot of clipping. But I want that edge to stay down. And here I am testing my stitch because I decided instead of just doing a top stitch, I'm going to use my decorative stitches on my machine. This one looks like a snowflake to me. But I changed my threads because I thought I wanted the off-white on top and bottom, and I wanted the stitch a little bit bigger. And I'm pretty sure I used the max my machine allows for that stitch length and width. And I'm lining my presser foot. That's the third time's the charm. That's the universal foot. And I've picked a spot to line it up on that foot and try to be consistent with it. Now mine is, I've chose just the inside of where the open space is for the needle. Just inside of that edge is where I'm trying to keep my fabric to keep this even all the way around. And this could take a while. Just letting the machine do what it does. Trying to make sure the white fabrics don't peek out on me too much. And I like this stitch. I think it's very wise for me to use this stitch for the top stitching because it's really going to hold that down well. Don't look at that handle. Stop looking at the handle. I know you're all looking at that handle now. Quit it. Yeah, that didn't go well. And I think I got smart here when I started going over that. Maybe not. At some point I do use that universal foot properly, the black button on it. And I'll tell you where I learned that. I watched Halo Inspirations. Angel was explaining how to do that in one of her videos, and I was like, that is so much smarter. Lift the foot, press the back, push the black button in on the edge. Put the foot down when you come to the bulky seam. I want to say like here, but I'm not so sure I did it. And it glides over it. Oh, there we go. Up, push the button in, press your. Words are hard. We're just going to say, you can see what I did in the picture. And it's coming together. Yay! Get all this top stitching done. I think if I had time to sit down and do this beginning to end, it probably would have taken maybe a couple hours. But I was in and out of the house. And probably not even that. If you know what you're doing, maybe an hour. I don't know what I'm doing. Don't tell anybody. It doesn't stop me. Maybe it should. Okay. And at some point we've got to get around the whole thing. Silence is golden unless you're doing a video, then it's just dead air. Oh, almost done. I really like this stitch. And I am using polyester thread. I'll probably put a link in underneath. I also need, I need to do things. Christmas is coming and I am so unprepared. But this is gonna fit perfectly on my bookcase and hold my folded fabrics. Perfect. I was going for the same size as the $5 box I got from Dollar General store. I wanted it in Christmas fabrics to put my Christmas fabric in. That seems appropriate. That's the word I was looking for. Appropriate. So I used the measurements on that box, and what I learned from Marie over at Marie's Scrappy Creations. I don't know why I stutter on that. And it's done. And I need to snip off all my little threads, or is it done? I decided I wanted to do more. I went down the side seams, and yeah, I used that button on that universal foot again. I can learn. But I went down the side seams with the same embroidery stitch. Just making sure that nothing's pinched or tucked or anything else in there. It's flat. Putting my arm back on my machine because it's just working better. I forgot to say that. I did have a extra part off of my machine. It made going around a little bit easier. But I'm just going to go down these two seams on either end with that embroidery stitch. It just makes it look a little pretty, in my opinion. And you can do what you like, what you feel like. You could put more stitches on this. You could play with your embroidery on it. You could play with your quilting on it. But I love storage things. And I thought this would be perfect. And it is. I have got a ton of fabric in it. And here I decided to kind of pin those to keep them out of the way for me. So I didn't have to fiddle with the fabric so much on this one. Getting the seam embroidered. And let's move on. I don't know why I think I'm so funny. I'm pretty sure I lost the bobbin race right about here. Didn't I? Yep, I lost the bobbin race with like an inch left to go. Isn't that how it always happens? Almost done, boom. No bobbin thread. It's laughing at us when it does that. Just to be ornery. And this winds up 11 by 7.5 and 7.5 deep. I wanted it 12, so I need to add just a little bit to get that. I hope you all enjoyed this third day of the holiday hop. You'll see the dates and the channels they're on at the end. Be the light you hope to see in others, and I hope you've got some inspiration to make something pretty.